we did enough to win the game. So that's, check that box off. But got conservative. I think we need to, put that team away. We got ahead early. Just need to capitalize when the defense is playing like that and holding them to points, and we need to, put it away. That's what good teams do, so we need to improve on that. But we were better in the red zone today and on third down. That's something that obviously I've talked to you guys about. So we just need to play better in those situations to put the game away.
This isn't fantasy football, never has been, from my perspective. And I would have liked the game to have been more, open in the second half. But, at the end of the day, things happen. It's the ultimate team sport. It's 11-on-11. A lot of moving parts. They played with two different quarterbacks. We had some things going on with our running back situation too. So, I mean, that's why it's a great team win.
Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys coach, before that, Baker Mayfield, the Browns quarterback. Questions about whether or not either or both teams got too conservative after building leads. It was the weekend of blown leads, or at least almost blown leads, for pretty much everyone except the Kansas City Chiefs, who got on top of the Raiders early and never let up en route to a 48-9, first time ever a game finished in the score of 48-9 in the NFL victory over Las Vegas. Let's start with the Browns. And between Baker Mayfield telling Kurt Warner of NFL Network in an interview that debuted yesterday that there are a lot of internal issues that are contributing to his stress this season, and by the way, Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Plain Dealer did a nice job of trying to identify the various stressors, from the disconnect with Kevin Stefanski as a play caller all the way down to the Browns' in-house radio show criticizing Baker Mayfield and him not liking it. Look, I mean, they all are on the same payroll. They're all supposedly on the same team. I can understand why he wouldn't like that. But then he comes out and says the offense is too conservative. Kevin Stefanski tried to address it today. There's clearly an issue there, Charean, in the background of all of it, Baker's unsettled contract status. This just does not have a good feel right now. Even though they won yesterday, it feels like it's very fragile, very tenuous, and not sustainable beyond next season, if it even makes it to next season.
Well, and his frustration started long ago, Mike, that November 21st game against the Lions when they actually won the game, but you saw him not participate in any of the post-game stuff. He went on into the locker room and then avoided the media, which is required after the game, all those things. And it just continued since that game. Even after wins, there just seems to be a frustration with him. And whether it's Stefanski or whether it's the dads of prominent players criticizing him, Kareem Hunt and Odell Beckham before, whatever it is, there just seems to be like a disconnect and frustration with him, with Stefanski and all of that. So they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure out if this is a long-term thing for them, or is it time for them just to let him go and not sign him to the long-term deal? Does he want to go? Does he want to stay in Cleveland and play? It's really hard once you think you found your franchise quarterback to say goodbye to what potentially is a franchise quarterback. But at some point, they've got to figure this thing out if they're going to sign him to a long-term deal, because last 2 years have not been good for this franchise, for him personally, for how he's playing. Now, they got to the playoffs last year. I realize that. They won a playoff game. They took a step. But the 2 years they really had expectations, 2019 and this year, they haven't gotten it done.
I'm not ready to call him a franchise quarterback. Look, there's a lot of great quarterbacks currently in the NFL, and I will not say, well, that guy's a top 10 or that guy's a top half until I sit down and rank all of them at any given moment. It's subject to change all the time. But I probably would not have him in the top half, and he may not even make it into the top 20 right now if I were listing all of them. That's how many good quarterbacks there are. And, I argued loudly a couple of years ago that the Rams should not have paid Jared Goff. They should have let him go or offered him far less. And that's what the Browns have to ask themselves. Do we offer him a contract at all? Do we offer him a second-tier level of contract, or do we just move on? And the Browns are so analytics-driven, Charean. If anybody's going to say, sorry, we're going to move on, it's got to be them. And we don't know how big of a pain in the ass he is in the locker room. We don't know how much worse he is when the microphones aren't on. There's a chance he is too much for them to deal with. there's a chance that a lot of it's just his personality, and they've had enough of it. And the fatigue factor could cause them to say we're moving on. We just don't know. But we do know this. They had no points in the second half yesterday, and the Ravens almost came back and won the game. As to the Cowboys, and Charean, I assume you watched this game a lot more closely than I did because I was trying to pay attention to 7 at once, and I'm assuming that this was a game that you were following closely yesterday.
Yeah.
It felt to me like the Cowboys just kind of rolled up a lot of points through happenstance. It's not like they came out and dominated early at the line of scrimmage. And offensively, they got some short fields. They had a fumble return for a touchdown. And before you know it, it's 18-0. Add a couple of field goals, it's 24-0. But I didn't get the impression it was an ass-kicking by the Cowboys to get to 24-0. It was just some of that right place, right time stuff. You roll up some points, and then you hold on. Am I wrong in what I vaguely recall emanating through one of the 9 screens that we had up yesterday?
Well, I think if you look at Washington's offensive stats in the first half, it was a butt kicking by the Cowboys defense to Washington's offense. There's no question about that. But it was the defense that spurred the whole thing. This offense just has not looked the same since that New England game, the last play when Dak Prescott hurt that calf. If it's a calf, who knows, whatever it's been. But since that game, the Cowboys have not been the same offense. Now, we go back to Vic Fangio saying, hey, the teams just weren't playing them right. Okay, so did the Broncos show a blueprint how to stop them? Is it Dak just not playing well? Is it Ezekiel Elliott, who for the 5th consecutive game had fewer than 50 yards rushing and fewer than 4.0 yards per carry? Is it his knee injury? Is it not having Tony Pollard yesterday? I don't know. The Cowboys are going to figure out all those things and figure out offensively what they were doing. We talked a lot about the Chiefs. Can the Chiefs defense carry them? You saw their offense come to life. They still have a really good defense. The Cowboys have to have their offense come to life. I don't see this team doing what they think they're capable of doing unless Dak Prescott and this offense plays better than what they've played since that New England game, when, frankly, they were very, very good. And after that game, I think we all thought, hey, this is a team that can go win the Super Bowl. We're not saying that now.
I like how you explained that because it really was the Dallas defense that kept the Washington offense from doing anything, and then the Washington offense woke up. But the Dallas offense was not dominant all day long, and they do need to have a little bit more. They're fortunate to have a defense with Micah Parsons, Randy Gregory, and DeMarcus Lawrence together yesterday. They're fortunate that they're able to create the havoc they did. If they can put both sides together, they're unstoppable. But something's up with the offense. I saw earlier today Mike McCarthy said Dak Prescott isn't injured. He isn't in a slump. Well, he's not playing like he was earlier this year, back before he injured that calf muscle in the first place. All right, the Bengals, they were down 20-6. They tied it up with 1:19 to play, and, of course, the 49ers drove down, had a field goal opportunity. It was missed by Robbie Gould, and then the Bengals petered out, got a field goal in overtime on the first drive. The 49ers answered with a touchdown and won the game. Should the Bengals, when they got the touchdown that made it 20-19, should they have gone for 2 with 1:19 to play or stuck with 1? It's easy to say they should have gone for 2, Charean, but they're at home. You know, they've got the momentum. I think they should have gone for 2 when they scored the last touchdown. I'm a firm believer in if you're down 14, anytime after the middle of the third quarter and you score a touchdown, go for 2 then, because if you get it, 7 wins it. And if you don't, you get another chance to go for 2 to force the tie.
Yeah, I'm with you completely, Mike, and we agree with analytics and the use of analytics. But I have just what you said. I said home game and momentum right here, and that was my thought. You're at home, you have the momentum. So to me, I think they did the right thing. And frankly, they got the ball first in overtime, so they had a chance to go down and win the game. I don't think they lost that game by not going for 2 there. It's a 50-50 shot to make it. Are you going to make it? You're not going to make it. And the 49ers still drove back down and would have had a chance to win the game at the end of regulation. Now, they missed the field goal, but perhaps they would have tried to get it closer or something else if the game was actually on the line, as opposed to, hey, we can win the game here. If not, we go to overtime. Who knows how that plays out if that's the case, that they need the field goal to win the game. But I wouldn't have. I would have played it exactly as Zach Taylor played it. It's easy to look back now and say, as it turned out, yeah, they should have. But I have no problems with what he decided to do.
two factors in all of this. One, the amount of time left when you go for the win versus the tie, because there were still 79 seconds left in the game. And you got to think of it from the mindset that you put the other team in. If it's a tie, they've got a different approach. Now, even though they did get in position for the potential game-winning field goal, you have a different level of aggression. You have a different – for example, if you hit 4th and 2 on your own 28, you're less likely to go for it. You're definitely going to go for it if you're down a point. Maybe you'll punt it if it's a tie game. You have a different mentality if you are behind on that final drive. So, like the Ravens-Steelers last week, end of the game, this is it, up or down, win or lose, we're going for it. You don't have to worry about the Steelers getting the ball back in regulation. So that's a factor, and I think I support not going for two then. And the other thing, and we had a fairly robust debate on the PFT text chain earlier today, this is what gets lost in the numbers that get thrown around by analytics. And we've got some folks who are firm believers in the idea that it's about a 93% proposition to make your extra point. It's about a 51% proposition to make your two-pointer. So why don't teams go for two more often? Here's why they don't. Because you have to have, and we saw this last week when Mike Zimmer bemoaned the fact that he didn't like the selections they had when they went for two, running the ball into the line of scrimmage. Well, first of all, you're the head coach. You're supposed to be the one who knows, what your two-point options are for that day. But you have to feel good about your two-point plays. Your two-point offense against their two-point defense, how many do you have? How many do you feel good about? How many have you already used? Are you willing to use one again that may have worked or maybe didn't work earlier? Those are all factors that go into it. It's not like flipping a coin or rolling a die. We can say, well, 51% of the time it works. Well, part of the reason it doesn't work, the 49%, is because it's not a good play, or their defense is really good in short yardage, or you don't have a guy you can put at the back of the end zone and throw it high and he can jump up and try to catch it. So these are all factors that go into the analysis. And momentum, time left, how you feel about your 2-minute plays, those things all factor into it. I still think if they had a 2-minute or a 2-point play, that they liked, would have been better to go for two when it went from 20-6 to 20-12, make it 20-14, then 7 wins it. That's what I prefer instead of waiting to make that decision after the second touchdown.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I would have gone for it that first one, but I didn't mind that Zach Taylor bypassed it to make it 2020 when they scored to make it 2019. I had no problem with that decision there. But I'm with you. I would have liked to have seen them go for it on the previous touchdown there to cut it to a 14-point game.
One more issue as it relates to going for two. When to go for two. The Ravens were down 24-15. That's 9 points with 8:56 left in the game. So they went for two then, which would have made it a 7-point game. If they had gotten it at some point, they had to go for two. When you're down 15, you got to go for two at some point, obviously, if you hope to tie the game up. John Harbaugh said it was a standard non-decision. You do it at that point in time because you're going to have to get a 2-point conversion. And there were folks from the NBC viewing room that were opposed to the idea of doing it. I think Sims was against it. I understand it because if you don't get it, it's better to know that you didn't get it now and have the time to do something about it than to run it all the way to the end. You score a touchdown while down 8, and you've got to get the 2-pointer then, and you don't get it then, you have no chance to rectify it. So if I'm going to rectify it, let me rectify it sooner rather than later so I know that I need another possession if I want to win the game. It's still a 2-possession game and I'm down 9 as opposed to scoring a touchdown late and I don't get my 2 points then and I don't have a chance to get the ball back. So at least I have a greater sense of urgency. So I understand why teams do it then so they know, oh crap, we got to get 2 scores over the remaining 8 minutes and 56 seconds.
I understand the reasoning too, but I don't like it. I don't like the 9 points, let's go for 2, because I've just scored, I kicked the extra point, now I'm 1 score down. And I just think that keeps your team excited. All right, all we need is 1 score. We need 1 score and a 2-point conversion, and we tie this thing up. And as it worked out, they didn't get that chance to tie it up, although they recovered the onside kick and still got an opportunity after that. But I'm not a big proponent of the 9-point, let's go for 2 right here. Again, I get the reasoning. That's just not one that I'm on board with. I am on board with, okay, we're down, what is it, the 14 points, or the, what is it, I'm lost,
yeah,
15
14,
points and you
down
go for
14,
2, whatever.
No, down 14.
Down 14, you go for 2. I like that one a lot. I understand that because it's a 50-50 proposition. You're going to probably get one of the two. Statistically, you should get one of the two. But the 9-point one, I don't like that one. I want to be one score down and be excited that I need one score and a 2-point conversion to tie it at that point.
It all comes
God, my
down
math's bad.
to that's all right. It's still better than mine. It all comes down to how you feel about your 2-point plays. And also,
that's it.
The point that Mike Tomlin made last week about the Ravens, they're predictable in the fact that they are very committed to the analytics. I like a little bit of I don't want to be known as, if I'm a coach, the guy who, if he's down 14 in the fourth quarter, always goes for 2 when he scores the first touchdown. I want him to be uncertain. I want him to be on their heels a little bit about what we're going to do. And I think that those factors contribute to a complicated stew of what it ultimately is that you do in any given spot.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.